The where of a D&D setting is important. It tells us what we need to know about the dangers, the rewards, and the culture we'll be interacting with. But the when is also crucial. Knowing what season we're in, what customs are being observed, and how everyone is preparing for the time ahead is a crucial ingredient in maintaining the authenticity of the game world.
Verisimilitude.
Hello, I'm Skyler the ADHDM, and today we're going to look at the calendar spread. You can choose your own level of complexity here. Tolkien, the undisputed champion of indulgent world building, kept his calendar simple. We understand that everyone has their own names for a season, for days of the weeks, and months, but Gandalf says October because all Tolkien needs to convey is that time has passed, and we're edging into the next season. That is an impressive amount of restraint from Mr. 15 Fantasy Conlangs. In the real world, calendars mark religious festivals, agricultural events, celestial alignments, and historical milestones. We use them to determine what we're doing with our money, what we should put in our gardens, how physically active we should be. Calendars shape the way that societies perceive time, seasons, and even the passage of years. Our own months in the Gregorian calendar are named after the Roman gods and rulers, and the days of the week are named for Norse gods and important celestial bodies, except Saturday, another Roman god who snuck in there. That doesn't mean we have to know the rise, convergence, and collapse of every single society in our game world to decide what things are called. That's the kind of busy work that ends up detracting from actually valuable prep. Instead, we can look at the narrative opportunities presented, the information and atmosphere we can impart with these names. In the Greyhawk calendar, for instance, all the months and days of the week are named after agricultural labors, celebrations, and other duties. This is a calendar used for the working class. That tells us people there value structured lives, contributing to their villages and their families. First, I like to think of seasons in our setting, specifically the regions where the game will be taking place. Are the winters longer than normal? Do the summers bring agricultural threats in the form of drought and insects? So that's the first part of our spread, our seasons. In my current setting, Montes Claros, there is a season of heavy rainfall in the late spring, followed by violent tropical storms along the eastern coast into early summer. This clearly has an effect on how those people plan their lives. It is not a matter of what happens if the next hurricane comes, but when. That will be an important time to track for everyone who lives there. Transitioning from the gentle rain of spring to the dangerous storms of summer coincides with the summer solstice. But rather than the usual themes of prosperity and fertility that accompany that kind of celebration, it will be about enjoying the last days before the storms and preparing for the worst. So in the seasons box, I can list notable recurring changes in nature that affect how people have to spend their time and energy and how their attitudes reflect that. If we want to name our months, we can think about the myths and stories that we want everyone to keep in mind. In this case, everyone means the player characters. This section of the spread is called the story of the year. If you want to reinforce that everyone in your setting takes the local religion very seriously, use the myths of your world as a building block. If it's a more secular society, you can use history. As the seasons change, what tales of the gods or the heroes and their deeds best represent the changes in the world? What famed rulers in days past accomplished deeds that fit within transitional periods in nature? For the passing of the months, we can tell 1 to 3 stories, each encompassing a cluster of months that illustrate the tales that everyone in the setting knows. This is a great opportunity to refer back to the culture spread and construct a story based on the values you chose, which falls in line with the seasonal changes in nature. You may have even made a myth that already fits the bill. You can get even more granular and decide what aspect of nature determines the measurement of time. The ancient Egyptians, for instance, used the cycles of the Nile River. The Gregorian calendar uses solar cycles. The Mayans used a combination of solar cycles and other intervals to track the movements of many celestial bodies. The Hebrew calendar uses lunar measurements with occasional leap months to keep in sync with solar cycles. For Montes Claros' story of the year, I'm going to use saints of both Montes Claros and the mother country, Cantania. The moral lessons and heroic deeds of these stories will reflect both the natural phenomena of the world and how everyone can best spend their time during those periods. Finally, when it comes to days of the week, I like describing what is supposed to be done on these days in the average household, very similar to the Greyhawk calendar. This part of the spread is called A Week in the Life. If you want to use this as an opportunity to express more about your world's lore, you can take each of the days of the week, just like the months, choose a historical figure, mythical hero, deity, or celestial body, and assign it to the name that fits the vibe of that day best. Whatever level of detail you provide, whether it's just seasons or all the way down to naming days of the week, It will give you passive opportunities to tell your players more about the world lore without dumping it at them. Calendar spread ties in pretty closely to my culture spread, and you'll definitely get the most out of using them both together. This week's spread will tie pretty closely into next week, which is all about holidays. If you subscribe to the channel, you won't miss out, and your world building and game prep will get just a little bit easier every week. This spread will be available in a public post on my Patreon. Alliteration. That means anyone can see it. A private post for patrons will show my notes and design process for this spread, kind of a blog post with the making of. Thank you to my Antediluvian Lurker and Dungeon Delver tier patrons: Adam M, IronTrash, Troy, Borkware, Courtney Monster, Katie B, M, Mitch B, Noah, Raspilicious, Sam, Shawn S, and Shawn M. And, as always,